Our thoughts, behavior, and attitude towards anything in life defines our success in that particular area. The same is applicable to our monetary or financial success. A healthy and positive outlook towards money will bring to us financial prosperity. Hello and welcome to this new episode of our Dialogue with the Veteran series. Today's episode is dedicated to the dynamics of investor behavior and their significant impact on the investment outcomes. We will learn about healthy financial habits and how we can inculcate them that will promote financial wellness. Today's guest is an expert of this subject. She is a financial behavior scientist and a university gold medalist in her master's degree and holds a doctorate degree in psychology. She is an assistant vice president at PGIM Asset Management. With great delight, I would like to welcome Ms. Sagneet Kaur.
Hi Sagneet, thank you so much for being on this session on client experience and behavior, an area where you have done your doctoral thesis. So very excited to be, with you and asking all these relevant questions, which will be very helpful, I think, from our clients and investors' point of view. Let me start with this area of client experience. In your opinion, does it fit well in the financial advisory area? It is not that we hear about client experience when it comes to finances, but I tend to think that client experience is a part and parcel of any of the areas in human experience. So I think you will have a lot to contribute there. I want to hear from you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Suresh, and thank you so much for inviting me for this quick chat around this very important, I would say, very important topic in the area of financial industry, because we are human beings, we deal with human beings, and finances, I would say, is a very important, I would say, medium of our association. So client and advisor relationship is actually been binded by the financial aspect. Okay, आप money ले रहे हो, पैसा ले रहे हो, advisory दे रहे हो, and or either you're managing money of somebody on and you are dealing yourself as the owner and the people who are responsible for taking care of that money. So you are basically, money is the medium and human beings are doing that part and parcel. And I think in the financial industry, traditionally, I would say, the area has always been focused on more of numbers, technicals, this, that. But eventually, if a deal is happening between one person, a relationship is happening between one person and the another person, then I think that experience, the trust, that is something which is very important. That has to build, that bond has to build. Only then you can trust somebody. Only then you can give your money to somebody for managing or for advising, or maybe if somebody is advising you, then you have to take that in. So I think this particular area is very important from various standpoints. And if I talk about the business standpoints in the advisory services, is like referral, retention, building trust with client, turning growth into bringing growth into your business, bringing more prospects, turning them into clients. So your business is totally dependent, I feel, on the client experience. And I think very few, but now this is kind of been sensitized in the financial industry, and advisory groups and advisory firms, managers, and various organizations are really now becoming active in terms of looking at this particular aspect. So I think this is a very important aspect of an advisory kind of services, where there is human to human relationship.
Okay.
I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah. We'll develop on this. You have definitely touched upon the most important aspects. But I just want to ask a follow-up question here.
Correct.
So in the area of financial advisory or financial services, what will constitute client experience, in your opinion?
terms of client experience, so specifically, if you can like help me, give me some like an example where you think,
So I'll tell you what I have in mind.
like,
In
how are
terms
you?
of,
Give me a context to it.
yeah. So I'll give you a context. So I am a great believer of client experience vis-a-vis financial advisory. In fact,
Correct.
last time we had met in that session which I had conducted. I had conducted a workshop, and you
Yes.
had conducted another session
Correct.
on one of the behavior aspects.
Correct.
So that
Correct.
session which I conducted, the workshop, 3.5 hour workshop which I conducted, was itself on client experience.
Yes.
So
Yes.
my
Yes.
understanding is that, see, I mean, if you are going to deal with clients in terms of cut and dried numbers and things like that, and you're always going to talk in terms of income, expenses, returns, and those kind of
That's
things,
not going to work. That
that's
is
not
never,
going,
never going to work.
that's probably not going to work, and that'll take you only so far. It'll take your clients only so far. But my
Correct.
point is, if you really want to make a difference to the client, first of all, basically, whatever services you are offering to the client, I mean, one of the things which probably is lacking in our industry is empathy. We talk in terms of
Correct.
numbers. I mean, we hear something, mostly we don't hear anything, and then we start giving advice. So empathy is lacking. I would say we need a lot more curiosity to understand the client's life. So those kind of things where the experience with the financial advisor who is spouting numbers all the time is actually
Correct.
seamless, and I mean, it actually adds value to them. So that's the client experience I'm talking about at one side.
Now, thanks for giving a nice context to it. And you're like, you reminded me of that great session which we had, and we interacted in Arya Forum that time. And the session was around building trust. So I think for me, everything when I'm thinking about client experience, when I'm thinking about advisor-client relationship, the first and the foremost thing which comes to my mind, and that is building trust between client and your advisor. And that is, I would say, is turning into a good client relationship or good client experience. When a client can trust into you, when a client can trust for their money, for your advice, for anything and everything related to your finances, which is in India specifically and in abroad also is a very delicate subject, I would say. So I think building trust is the basic, I would say, premise for client experience. And like in that that discussion, we did talk about the 3 pillars of client experience or building trust were like autonomy, which is the one, a very, very important pillar. And another is like communication, logic of like, maybe you're an expert, maybe you're communicating well. So whatever you are taking, whatever judgment, reasoning, research, strategies you are taking, they are well binded with what you are delivering, what you're wanting to deliver to the client. Client also believes in that. And the third one, as you mentioned, is empathy, which is again a very, very important component. And people in the advisory field are, I would say, majorly they're being focused on the logic aspect or communication aspect of it. Okay, I'm an expert, I'm CFP, I'm CFA, I'm this, I'm that, I have this credit, I'm that credit, I know numbers, I can build strategies. But the other 2 aspects are kind of, they take as a backseat. But if you have to build a good client relationship, have a good client experience, build trust in a client, then I think these 3 pillars have to have like, I would say, they have to be precisely very, very intact. You have to be autonomous, you have to be genuine, you have to work in their best interest, and you have to make them believe that I'm genuine. And there I would say and maybe we can take like more discussion on that. I would say genuineness is, in behavioral science there are studies which they say, which say autonomy or genuineness has been shown by the way you show yourself to the people, and that
Authenticity.
is through authenticity. And that is through I would say storytelling. That is telling stories about yourself, who you really are, what you have really, really experienced. Or maybe you have, say, so many clients and you hear every single story, and to another client maybe you are anonymously telling the story and making the person learn. So you have to be authentic, you have to be logical, you have to be empathetic, And empathy is, I think, very, very important component. As I said, understanding the needs of the person, understanding who they are. And that is all behavioral science. And that is where I think to drive client experience, to build trust, behavioral science can really, really contribute, helping an advisor and vice versa also, helping a client to understand their advisors well, that who they are, who my advisor is, why I'm giving money to them, who this manager is, why I'm giving money to them to manage.
Understood.
So I think it's a vicious circle, I would say, but it's a very beautiful vicious circle which connects people to people, human to human, brains to brain, and where behavioral science come into play.
I will call it virtuous circle.
Correct.
Yeah. So the next thing which I want to ask you is that, I mean, we want good outcomes for our clients, for all the investors. So how can we influence investor behavior towards money and towards wealth and towards investment, so that, I mean, the outcomes for them eventually is actually good? So what can be done in that area?
I think the first and the foremost I feel is the advisors, they themselves need to understand that this is a very, very important area. So that need, yes, everybody wants business. Everybody is just driving themselves to get more and more and more and money for themselves, for their businesses, and like focusing on growth in terms of profit, in terms of money. But I think when we're talking about an advisor-client relationship and advisory services specifically, I really believe that that need has to be generated in both the stakeholders, specifically in the investor side as well as the advisor side, because I think advisors are the drivers for this investor education, investor awareness, structure or ecosystem. I really feel the stakeholders, the onus comes to us. The onus comes to the people who are like building products like mutual funds and other products in the space of financial services, and the people who promote, who take it to the end user. We are the people, along with the regulatory bodies like SEBI and everybody. So I think we are the people who need to first understand, inculcate in ourselves, and generate that need, that we need investor education. And I think if that need is there, then we can like push that forward in our interactions with our client. We can help them understand. We can generate need in them in terms of, you need to understand what are different sorts of biases you are going through. You should be knowing about personal finance. You should be knowing about saving. You should be knowing about retirement. You should be knowing about, and these are the areas where like the entire personal finance gamut comes into the play. So I think educating, first of all, generating need is very, very important. And another is then helping clients understand through, I would say, good books, good reading materials. That is a very, very first and the basic step for themselves as well as for their clients to nurture, to like get into the space of understanding and helping yourself, educating yourself. What is finances, what are finances, what is personal finance, and how we can like take our education from like level 1 to the level 4. I think books have always been great support, and suggesting good books, helping them understand that space, conducting seminars. So I think in a way the content has to be like taken ahead. Maybe it's through technology, maybe it's through book, maybe through like having live sessions. I think that's the way I would say. These are the different ways and mediums in which you can take the things forward towards them. And I think another, which is now driven very well through technology as well, is like putting certain things into default. Okay, you're not saving for retirement, you can't do it. Okay, putting things at default. Auto enrollments. So these are the different ways like behavioral science has been like in literature. People have been like doing researches, building researches and doing experiments and putting that in papers. But now it's the time to like bring all those researches into actual action. And many companies, many tech platforms have been doing abroad as well. Many advisory services have been like helping, or organizations have been helping. through technology, they have been helping in terms of like applying behavioral science, putting certain defaults, putting certain auto enrollment aspects, using gamification to nudge behavior or put things into their pipeline automatically. And that's the way I would say things can be taken forward, and the sensitization around you need to understand your finances will improve.
Yeah. As far as the investment behavior is concerned, so I mean, to influence investment behavior and make it permanent, we will have to make it into a habit. So, I mean, you
Correct.
have to influence, and ultimately it has to really get patterned into their consciousness as a habit, so that then they have a pathway to meet whatever goals they have and the wealth formation that they want. I mean, so there is a success system that we put in place through the financial habits that we inculcate. So, any thoughts on that particular thing? What we can do about that aspect?
In terms of habit formation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I talk about let's not be specific to the financial field in general. If you talk about habit formation or behavioral modification, so I'll talk about two things here. I'll talk about the habit formation and I'll talk about the behavioral modification. I think behavioral modification is a journey. It starts from intention to the end action. So intention and action. So, and there are multiple steps. And if you go back to the theories of behavioral science, they say that this journey is kind of a 6-step journey. So you have to first inculcate the need, the realization that I need something. I need to change my behavior. I need to save more. I need to save for my emergency fund. I need to save for my retirement. I need to save for this. I need to have insurance. I need to have been saving in SI, like I should be going through SIP route. I should be like investing my money. If I have like, apart from the emergency fund, if I have savings, then I should be investing. So I think that need is, or intention is something which is a very, very first step, which drives the entire behavior modification. And then thus, I would say habit formation is something which has been like, which is the end result, or the action is the end result. So I think that the first step is very crucial, which today advisors, through investor education, through different means, forums, technology, we can help investors understand, realize the need that they need a change. They need to save more. They need this. They need that. I think that's the inculcating intention is a very, very first step. That is it. And you talked about habit formation. So I think theoretically, habit formation has been done, again, intention, generation of need. And there is one more concept of having cues. And what are cues? So cues are basically an association between need and something which will basically remind your brains that you need to act, you need to react on this. And that is why, for example, the way we get certain notifications. Okay, we put certain things on reminders, we put certain things on emailers, notification, and these are kind of default. Okay, these will basically these will basically like cue you to take certain action. So maybe for an example, a very simple example, I don't save every month. I can put things on auto enrollment for myself, or I can put certain reminders. When my pay comes, that reminder will automatically, at that point in time and that day, it will cue me. It will nudge me to take an action. And thus, once, and theoretically also, once this cycle of cue, need generation, or maybe reminder of the need, and then reacting to the need, it is happening again and again and again for a couple of frequent times, then it turns into a habit. That is, I think, I would say theoretically, the habit formation can happen. However, reading, like I would say, if advisors can really help their investors, their clients to take that path, like maybe just hand holding them, maybe holding their hand and like taking them ahead on the path of saving more frequently, like, and looking at their emergency funds and other investments, making them read more, making them aware of their personal finances, and it becomes like very frequent, very repetitive, then I think habit formation is the next step.
Yeah. So one of the things over a period of time, I've been in this line for about 19 years now. Over a period of time, there has been a realization that we will have to transcend money, finance, wealth, which we are actually working for as far as our clients are concerned, and focus more on actually helping them with their life success itself. So that's the mantra with which many of us are working today. So you feel that this is how it should, this is the direction in which it should go, and financial advisors should connect with their clients in terms of life success more than just success with money?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. So I think in a couple of forums when I've been working with Morningstar and um, uh, like after that as well, I've interacted with Network FP and a couple of more. I talked about one very important aspect of psychological needs. And what are they actually? Like I'll link that to the life success and how that is very, very important. And I'll give you a context also. So I've been interacting with many advisors in the field by now through Morningstar, and people are connected to me on LinkedIn. So one of them actually, a couple of them rather, they actually reached out to me asking a couple of questions, and a very new insight came into existence. So he was basically managing that advisor specifically. I'll take an example, and it's now it is becoming a story. So he actually was managing the cross borders advisory. So the clients who were earlier in India, and then now they have left and they have like settled outside, but they're managing like their money is being managed by them. So he said that, Sagneet, it's very different, and I'm not able to answer many questions of my clients. I said, what sort of questions you are getting from your clients? He said, earlier when they were in India, the kind of questions they used to ask was, okay, how can I generate more money? How can I generate more money for future, for this and that? Like broader, very materialistic goals they had. And now, and no offense to the thought processes of Indians, I'm not like giving any specific remark, but he said that when they went out, and after a couple of months and months and years, they're like again still connecting and asking a couple of questions around like when I'm asking a couple of questions to them, what are your goals, how are you taking your like, what are you targeting at, and all that. He says now their thought processes have, I would say, really changed for good, for bad. I'm not commenting. But now they're asking, okay, if I have X amount tomorrow after so many years, what will I do with this X amount? That's the question. How I'm going to use this. So now earlier it was more materialistic goals. Now the goals have become more psychological, more need based, whether they have a need for security, whether they have a need for socialization, whether they have emotional needs. So they are thinking from a life success or financial success in their lives. That is now has become the topic of discussion and talks between that client and themselves. And when I ask, okay, this is with one specific client or multiple clients, because you have been managing the cross borders funds, and he said, no, it's with many of them. Like if I have to like rate, or if I have to like give a percentage, more than 60% of my clients have started asking these questions to me, and I'm not able to answer that. So I think everyone, I would say, should be thinking about the psychological needs they have. and then should be connecting that to what expenses they have to make. For example, I have a car. I want to buy a car. I want to buy a car. Maybe you don't want to buy a car. I want to buy a car because that satisfies my reputation, my social need, convenience. I'm okay to pay for the maintenance, for petrol, for this, for that, but that satisfy my internal needs. For you, maybe going by Ola and Uber is something which is manageable. That is fine. You maybe not looking for a car which is satisfying your internal needs. Likewise, in Indian, so I have many friends who never bought a house in their lives. But if I see my parents, if I see myself, for my mental security, for my needs of having a stable life, being with family, spending time with family in my own arena, in my own space is very, very important. For my friends who have not bought a house in years, they want variety. They want to be moving. They're okay with spending 1 year at one property and then moving the entire house, entire everything to the another property, and saving that corpus and investing that corpus to grow more money. So they have not invested, they have not parked, they're not paying any EMIs and anything. So their needs and preferences are very, very, very different. And I think holistically, if we have to see, an advisor has to map the financial journey or financial situation or status of the client. They need to, apart from the expenses and the costs and the net worth they have and how much emergency corpus they have and how they would be investing the rest of the money to other assets. Beyond that, I think we need to dig a little deeper into the aspect of what are my clients' psychological needs, and then driving everything from there to the numbers.
Yeah.
And another aspect which I generally cover, I would really like to mention because it's a very, very important aspect, is where your money is coming from. That's another important point. We know, okay, my job is giving me X amount every month, and that is what I collect. And from there, I put my expenses. This is what I save. This is what I invest. However, where my money is coming from is a very, very important question, and why my money is coming from there. I'm doing a job. So my job is not giving me money. My strengths, my qualification, that is giving me money. So ideally, there are 3 ways of getting money, which is, one is through your land, another is through your labor, which we generally say is, okay, no, my job is paying me. My job is putting money to my pocket. However, that's not the job. That's basically you are renting your labor, you're renting your expertise, your knowledge, your qualification to a particular organization. And because of that, they are actually using your expertise and paying you money. So they are not providing you the money, the income. However, your own labor is providing. So there are 3 ways. One is land, one is labor, one is capital. And there could be different sorts of capital we can talk about. I will not be digging into deeper levels. Why I'm putting more stress into this aspect as well is that as an advisor, can I help my client generate more money? One way is putting whatever corpus they have, savings they have into investment and generating money. Another way is helping them understand that you have these skills. You have a vacant land over there. Can you build something and put that on rent? Or maybe can you put that property on rent, like the land on rent itself for any specific purposes? That's the way you're generating rent. You're generating income. That's one way. Another is how you can leverage, how you can upskill yourself, and how you can leverage your existing skills or the new skills to maybe generate a side income. That's another way. Another is capital. How? Okay, you have XX amount, which you have generated from, say, your land, your labor. Now, how you can bring that out of, say, the banks and put that into investment and generate more money around it. So I think these are all aspects of how an advisor can really, really help become a behavioral coach and really, really help an investor to look at a broader picture, to look at the whole, their life and their finances and how their finances are plugging into their life, supporting their needs and wants in a holistic manner. So I have always been suggesting kind of moving away from a traditional financial planning approach to a more holistic and a behavioral planning approach, which plugs finances and financial well-being in the whole aspect of their life and in their whole life well-being, I would say. And I think that will motivate investors. Maybe market upar ja raha hai, niche ja raha hai. If my advisor is so passionate about and so empathetic about my life, my success, my goals, my needs, how I'm generating money, why I'm generating money, how I'm putting money to certain expenses, if that is what my advisor is doing, I think I will have trust in him. I will believe. I will go with him, whether markets are going down, they are up, it doesn't matter. I will enjoy the journey towards my goal. I think that is something which we need to inculcate in the advisory forums and help them understand that you are behavioral coaches. You are helping your clients not just with finances, but putting finances into their whole life and in a holistic manner. So understanding your clients holistically and giving a full life perspective to it is very, very, very key component of, I would say, advisory. Should be a key component of advisory services.
Yeah, correct. So you have talked about how an advisor should go about dealing with that, and of course, how the investors should take that up. So that is one aspect of it. And beyond the investor and advisor interaction, I think a bit of financial awareness and education on the part of the investors will be good. So you had mentioned about books, you had mentioned about maybe they attend certain sessions and seminars and these kind of things. So what are the formats that will help in terms of making the investors more aware and more realized in terms of what they need to do as far as their life is concerned and finances are concerned?
So I think there are different mediums and there could be different formats as well. So I generally prefer any sort of interactions with the client. Maybe it's through some seminars, some forums, through books, or through technology as well. It has to be interactive. And I'm speaking from a behavioral science perspective. Why something which we see, which we hear in a particular format, which relates to me, is remembered more than something which we just like go look at it? For example, movies. Movies are something which is a story has been told, and you remember the entire story, and you love it, you relate to it. Sometimes in the theater, you cry with them. You feel that happening to you, and you put yourself into that particular space and relate, and then connect and remember it. I think audio-visual type of content that in a format would definitely be working. Interactive sessions, if you're on ground live sessions, they would definitely be working. Content, if it is written through maybe, there are articles, blogs, books. I myself love to read those books which have a way of format of storytelling in that, which help me connect to a particular person who is going through a particular scenario. And I generally prefer in my sessions, I have started by my sessions, I try my level best to give examples, put them into scenarios, sometimes narrate a story, and help them connect to that particular person. Because if there is no emotional connect to what you're listening, what you're looking, what you're attending to, then it is a passage of time. Within a few minutes, seconds, our brains will not support, and we might forget kind of say 30, 40, 50, and many a times 90% of what we have heard or what we have attended to. So that's the nature. But if the format is very engaging, interactive, I think that definitely would be a big hit. And now technology has come up so well, I think, in terms of content delivery of any sort or education, building awareness, that the way technology is coming up big time in having interactive sessions, in terms of like people can like attend to something, people can play with a couple of games around it. So I think technology has been big time becoming a very, very great support in building in delivering content in a manner which will be kind of digested well by the people. So I think interactive storytelling, these are the ways in which you can emotionally connect, and make things relatable to the person. I think that's a very, very important aspect of whatever we even write or deliver as a session or do something with clients. And I've always been like, when I've been interacting with advisors, they usually come to me and say, okay, it's very easy to maybe convince a particular client, vis-a-vis it becomes really, really difficult to convince another client. Or it comes through age. Okay, now the new age people, they have so many questions, they will not listen to you, they will not listen to me, they will not, they will hear, they will say yes, yes, and then they go back and then they do not do what we ask them to do. So how to mend that? How to make them understand that this is a very integral part of your life and your financial life, and you have to do it. So I think I have always been suggesting them, you need to treat them like children. You need to treat them like children, because the way you are, for example, you have children, you are making them understand a particular concept. You will tell them a story. You will narrate some particular incident of another client, keeping the client's particulars confidential. You will be, okay, this person happened that and this and that. So that's a story. That's a vicarious. So I quote it as behaviorally, it is a vicarious learning from the experiences of others. So that aspect, I think we all need to learn. We all need to build in our communication, in our writings, in our content delivery, through any sort of medium.
So thank you so much, Sagneet. Thank you so much. That was very valuable from an investor's perspective, from an advisory perspective, and a lot of learnings here. I think all our viewers will get something out of this interaction. And thank you so much for participating in this discussion.
Thank you so very much, Sureshji, for calling me and having this chat. And I've been like always from last, I would say 6-7 years, more than that, I've been like being a person who really, really want that we should leverage different aspects of behavioral science to build a trusting relation, kind of a like healthy, very solid bond, and a trustworthy relationship between both sides. It should not be like your client should not be trusting you, rather you should also be trusting your client, that okay, I can trust my client on whatever he says. So it's a to and fro relationship. And I think I've been whatever my wherever I've been speaking, I've been keeping this as a key aspect, that we need to look at things holistically. Goals are important. Building trust is key for this sort of relationship. So thank you so much for again giving me a forum to speak and take my word ahead to masses. And I wish you all the very, very best for your organization and for your new book, which is coming up. So many, many congratulations on that. And thank you so very much for inviting me for the session.
Thanks again. Good day.